survivors of police violence who have been white, as well as Black and brown folks who have not lived through those encounters. So I do want to hold that policing does impact all of us, because if you are ever forced into a situation where you are unhoused, when your job is not paying you or treating you in the way that you deserve, and you decide to collectively organize with your workers, in the case that you decide to protest an incinerator or a project that is going to create tons of pollution in your community, every single time, who shows up? It's police, regardless of what you look like. So I do want to ground that for the space that we're in. And also, this conversation is very timely because just yesterday, City Council approved what is known, I think, in the public as the Minnesota Department of Human Rights consent decree, also known as a legal settlement, after the Minnesota Department of Human Rights did a thorough investigation over the Minneapolis Police Department and found that, unsurprisingly, and as community members have told, the city leaders for decades now, that our police institution is actually a massive violator of human rights. Right. And the state had to mandate the city to do something about it. You have neglected this responsibility. The mayor, city council, for 10 plus years of allowing this police department to engage in systemic and violent acts of racism and misogyny and violence towards your community, and you have done nothing. So we are now legally mandating you to do a long list, it's 145 pages, with 300 plus recommendations of provisions that we expect you to be in compliance with and to fulfill, to because I want to note this, to get your police department in bare minimum compliance with human rights law. Not to transform public safety, but to get it to the bare minimum. And I want to highlight, you talked a lot about thoughts and prayers, because I frame my colleagues or my council, and I want to name this, as a democratic socialist in a conservative, liberal, political space. That is what the city of Minneapolis is, where the voices of the Chamber of Commerce ring louder than the voices of our East Phillips residents who are asking to not be polluted. Yes. I am sitting in a space where, even though there's colleagues who look like me, they'll get a settlement agreement that says, we've done atrocious acts. Our city employees, our police officers have done atrocious acts. Pay $2.5 million. Or here's a policy that will actually rein in, and I will see my colleagues say no. So I frame them often as a thoughts and prayers council. They are often ready, our city leadership, to give you symbolic words, to pass symbolic policy positions that have no whatsoever tooth or teeth to do anything to transform conditions. They would rather do that than to pass the policies that actually can be codified into ordinances and laws. They would rather do that than to put their money where their mouth is, because we oversee your $1.5 billion budget for this city. They would rather invest in building new police precincts or rebuilding police precincts than giving East Phillips residents an urban farm to combat decades of environmental racism. They would rather give police more resources to hire more officers into a toxic, racist police department than to give residents a municipal sidewalk plowing program to make sure that everyone has accessibility and freedom to move through our Arctic jungle, because snow is not going away. They would rather do that. They would rather give the police more money than to give every single resident a place to live, especially those who are living in the streets and in tents right now. That is the priorities of our current leadership. And they have shown that to be true, and that is why we're in this position where the state had to come in and ask us to do our jobs. That is, and I want to apologize to our residents, because under this leadership, you have received subpar, incompetent, racist administrations of services, and you deserve better. Every single resident deserves better than what we are giving them right now, especially in light of being a city that inspired a global racial reckoning. And to see that we have doubled down on protecting the status quo that got us to the point where George Floyd was executed and lynched in front of the world for 8 minutes and 40 seconds. Our city wants to continue on in protecting that legacy and continuing that, and that's a shame. But if you know me, I'm an organizer. That's where we're at. That doesn't say or dictate where we're going or where we're at. That absolutely does not. Thank you. We have vibrant movements across the city that is fighting for a more just and equitable and thriving Minneapolis. And I am grateful for them. And I'm grateful for them because when we're talking about this theme of demilitarization of the empire, they're pointing us towards how we do very two important things to make that happen, to make that world possible and to abolish the empire. And the first thing is we need to drastically address the racist and capitalist arrangement of our society that again puts the interests and motives of the ultra-rich, the Steve Kramers, the Elon Musk, the Jeff Bezos, and CEOs and shareholders over that of people like you. And then by doing that, we get to address the bodyguards. That's what police are, bodyguards for that capitalist arrangement, to make sure that the rich keep their riches and the poor and the working class, you don't get to have some of those riches. You just need to be happy with your humble beginnings that's constantly shrinking and shrinking. So we can't do one without the other. And we have folks, and I love giving people assignments, homework assignments, because that is part of this work. This work is a group project. And as Kelli mentioned, I think we often look to other people to come save us when all along history has shown that we are our own saviors. And community members are recognizing that. We have community members, which you should follow, who are addressing the fact that we should not have people who have housing insecurity. So that means they're fighting for things like a policy like rent control to make sure that we have rent caps at 3% for every housing unit, just as you do if you're a homeowner, you have a mortgage, you know where that stands. We want the same for our renters. That means investing in public housing. You're going to be hearing me talk about public housing levy to get over 20 years, over $100+ million towards protecting and growing our public housing stock so that we can keep people housed. So I'm going to need your support on that. That means when we're talking about this consent decree in the Department of Justice, you need to be on the council and the mayor to say that the police is not the end all of our public safety. You need to be investing in not only more mental health programs like our behavioral crisis response team, but for programs for victim services. What are we doing about victims who are experiencing domestic violence? What are we doing to engage youth who are not going to school but getting into other issues? We need to be thinking of how we're giving comprehensive, unarmed solutions to those vulnerable community members too. Same way as our homeless folks. Don't send cops to deal with homeless people. Let's send some people who are going to get them people housed. So that is where we need to be demanding of our city leadership to invest not more into a broken system, but into building something new. And also when I mention environmental justice, our folks need you to stand with the East Phillips residents. The city of Minneapolis, our mayor, is bent on continuing the poisoning of thousands of indigenous, Black and brown relatives in our city. And I think also you need to stand with our North Side residents who are fighting to close the Herc incinerator that has also, for several decades, polluted a predominantly Black community. It's no coincidence that we've put the most pollutant forces in the most diverse and poorest communities in the state. So our East Phillips residents and our North Side residents need you to show up in this fight to reclaim land, to make sure that we can have an indoor farm, the East Phillips indoor farm, and to make sure that North Minneapolis has full decision-making power over what happens with the land and the building of the Herc incinerator once we get that out of their communities. So I will leave you with those key pieces, because through addressing all of those things, we will get the safer, just, and equitable Minneapolis that we all deserve, that we all are committed to building. So I just wanted to say thank you for having me here with you today.
Well, I'm fired up and ready to go. Mariam Kaba says that abolition envisions a world where we address harm without relying on the violent systems that increase it. A world where we have everything we need: food, shelter, education, health, art, beauty, clean water, bodily autonomy, and more things that are foundational to our personal and community safety. Critics charge that abolitionists are naive about violence, but Kaba demonstrates that abolitionist analysis witnesses connections through every layer of violence: interpersonal violence, state violence, everywhere, the structuring violence of anti-Blackness, heteropatriarchy, and capitalism. We'll figure it out by working to get there, Kaba says. It is a call to radical imagination. Instead of certainty, she gives us an invitation to our future world, one where everyone has their needs met, where Black women are free. And we center Black women and women of color because out of all of everything, this is the group of people that the issues fall on most harshly. When Black lives matter, all lives matter. When Black women and women of color matter and are centered, life is better for everyone. Therefore, everyone is free. And where human disposability is unimaginable, that's the call, to exit an age of human disposability. And we are the ones to step forward in the fight, to join others who are already in the fight. We don't have to figure it out ourselves. We join others. Let's sing a song about it. Let's sing We're Building a New Way. It's number 1017 in the Teal Songbook. The lyrics will come up here, and Cyrus will play for us. Please stand as you're able. 1017 will be right in there.
Perfect. Yeah. Thank you.
We are building a new way. We are building a new way. We are building a new way of feeling stronger every day. We are building a new way. We are working to be free. We are working to be free. We are working to be free. Hate and greed and jealousy. We are working to be free. We can feed our every need. We can feed our every need. We can feed our every need. To start with love, that is the seed. We can feed our every need. One more. Peace and freedom is our cry. Peace and freedom is our cry. Peace and freedom is our cry. With our
thanks so much for the words today. The first Humanist Manifesto said we insist upon living in a shared life in a shared world, and we're still insisting, and thanks for being our voice out there. As you heard, some of our on-site participants in the intergenerational seminar made a pilgrimage to George Floyd Square this morning. You found it moving? You found it? Yes. It is the people's place. The memorial there has been tended by the community since May 25th, 2020, when Mr. Floyd was murdered. People come from around the world to visit this space. Through digital engagement, the memorial now reaches around the globe, helping us to envision a new future of mutual aid, joy, and creativity, a world without police violence. It is our honor today to take a special offering for the support of the George Floyd Global Memorial. Our donations help fund internships, the annual Rise and Remember event, and more. You can give using PayPal, the Vanco mobile app, via our website, or with a check or cash as we pass the baskets this morning. Thank you so much.
Thank you, David. While those baskets are being passed, I'm just going to go right through with our announcements this morning. We hope that those of you who are joining us online will, as you exit this assembly, that you go and get some refreshing food, that you drink a good beverage, reground yourself in your body, because that's what we're going to do here. We hope those of you on site will join us downstairs for our mini meal. Today we have cinnamon and lemon Moroccan stew, or chicken pot pie, and can't be beat, B-E-E-T, chocolate cake. So everybody come downstairs to the lower assembly hall that's right below this room on the second floor. And there's an elevator just outside here to your left as you go down. While you're down there, please take a look at our Active Voices table. I'm especially eager that those of you who are visiting today stop by and see what we're doing at Active Voices. This is our advocacy team. Minneapolis folks, please stop by and fill out postcards. You know how to do this. Today, we have postcards that we'll be sending to our electeds to encourage our Senate to calendar the hearing for the trans refuge bill. If you know that your state senator is already in favor of this, send them a note to say thank you. They love those thank you notes. And encourage them, and if you don't know that they're in favor of it, encourage them to do so. And also a green bank bill that we're signing today. So stop by the Active Voices table, and folks from other congregations, come see what we're doing, because we are really proud of what our Active Voices team is doing. At 12:15 today, we will have a program especially for our people from the St. Croix Unitarian Universalist Fellowship, but really anybody is welcome to come. I am curious about beginning a conversation about what does abolition and demilitarization mean in a rural context. We can imagine, and what we've heard here today is a lot about what it means in a metropolitan and urban context, but what does it mean in a rural context? I have Mayberry in my mind, and that ain't it. So we will be in the Chalice room downstairs, so go have lunch and then join us if you would like to there. What else are we supposed to do here? Oh, Morgan and Stevie, would you come and extinguish our chalice for us? Morgan and Stevie are two of the main drivers of the UU at UN Intergenerational Spring Seminar, and we're delighted to have you here. There you go.
Will you join me in the words for extinguishing the chalice? We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts and in our minds until we are together again.
Please. Thank you so much for having us, y'all. Yeah, for real, this has been really cool. This next song is called When It Rains, and it's about facing adversity and then allowing it to make you a bit stronger. I hope you guys enjoy it. So we normally do this song with drums. So if y'all want to help me keep the beat here. Thank you. Hey, hey. Hey, today I
Charmaine Douglas and the culture. Ian, Connor, Jovan, and Cyrus, thank you. Thank you. Councilmember Robin Wonsley, thank you so much. Go out into the world, be fearless, ask questions, hold on to what is good, strengthen the weak, comfort the fearful, serve the suffering, do what makes you come alive. Rejoice in the power of the human spirit. So may it be.